There's always tension between Mike and Arnold.
Oh, come on, Mentzer. We all know that you lost last year because of your big belly.
Arnold said, "Hey, you have a fat stomach anyhow." And Mike's like this. I'm like, "Oh my God."
I allowed that to irritate me perhaps too much, and on impulse, I ran over towards him.
Mike was the golden child. He was an intellectual guy, the intellectual bodybuilder.
But here you had this big Prussian son of a bitch standing up, acting like a Nazi.
Your kids are soft. You lack discipline.
He got upset and carried this bitterness and carried this anger with him everywhere he went.
I thought that evil was something you just read about in novels and newspapers, when in fact evil is something that's around all of us. This brought it all into focus, and I didn't want to be involved or associated with people like that, and decided to drop out.
Stop whining.
And I think that's one of the reasons that caused him to die.
In 1980's Mr. Olympia, Arnold Schwarzenegger showed up on stage after many years of his retirement as a bodybuilder and won his 7th Mr. Olympia title. This made many people question the integrity of this event, as it appears that Arnold didn't deserve that victory. This caused huge dissatisfaction upon many of the competitors, one of them being Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer was the first person in history who scored a perfect score on the Mr. Universe competition. He also placed second in the previous Mr. Olympia competition in 1979. That year, Frank Zane was the winner, only now, Zane faced some serious injuries and cleared the path for Mike to win his first Mr. Olympia title this year. Only he didn't expect Arnold to show up. No one did. There are stories that the audience was booing at Arnold when he won. Mike even said that he was on cocaine, which could be an accurate assessment given the fact that it came from the guy who uses meth as a pre-workout.
Joe Weider told me later that Arnold was on cocaine that day. And in looking at some of the photographs later on, I believe that he had an unusually stressed look on his face. The veins on his forehead were distended. All symptoms of being on cocaine. Most likely he was.
Two of the greatest bodybuilders of all time are getting ready to fight each other, and people are holding them back. I'm like, oh my God.
Mike felt discouraged and never showed up on stage ever again. Some might say he was pissed. But if you are curious if this was actually rigged or not, you may want to consider what happened the following year. The 1981 Mr. Olympia winner was Franco Colombo, Arnold's best friend. He showed up on stage with a huge gyno and unable to flex his legs due to a horrible injury he suffered about 3 years prior to competition. Now, before you judge, I also want you to consider that at the time, Arnold was becoming a movie star. Imagine the power he had to influence people to get into the sport of bodybuilding. There's so many people that looked up to him, that were inspired and wanted to look like Arnold. There's a reason why he's still considered as the greatest bodybuilder of all time. People looked at him and said, "That's it, I want to be like that." I'm not trying to justify or to give you my opinion. I'm just putting it out there for you to understand what was going on back then. So, why am I telling you all of this? Look, we all make decisions based on our emotions. Emotions made Mike Mentzer quit the sport he loved. Emotions that were so strong that he kept it all the way to his grave. Maybe you have a negative feelings towards Arnold because of what happened back then, which impacts your decision to follow Mike Mentzer's training principles. What I want you to do is listen to me objectively, and based on your logic, decide which training version you are going to follow. If Arnold followed Mike Mentzer's high-intensity training, he wouldn't be successful. If Mike followed Arnold's high-volume training, he wouldn't be successful either. You have to figure out what will work for you personally, because not everyone is the same.
As Mike would say, you don't need to train 6 days a week, twice a day like Arnold does. You only need to train 2 or 3 times a week. So Arnold's methodology was being challenged in print in the magazines. Arnold didn't like that. Arnold doesn't like to lose. Arnold doesn't like being criticized. Nobody does.
The major difference between Mike's and Arnold's training principles is not intensity. People seem to miss that part when they say that Arnold's high volume training is BS. Listen, both of these guys were training with a very high intensity. They trained to failure 100%. The major difference is training volume and training frequency. Intensity is the price of entry. They both train with the maximum effort. Only Mike did it 4 times a week with 30-minute long workouts, and Arnold did it pretty much every day. And not just every day, but he trained for 5 hours a day.
Because remember that after you do the bench press and you do the incline press and the dumbbell incline press and the flies with the dumbbells and all this stuff, now you still have to do the dips for the lower pectoral muscle. Then you have to do the exercise for the striation. So now you do cable crosses in front. So now you're already at 30 sets.
Yeah.
Right? And then you haven't even talked about the pullover with the dumbbell, which was as you remember, we talked about that. My favorite exercise, to lie across the bench and to have a heavy dumbbell, like 100, 120 pound dumbbell, and to do like 15 reps of that, to get great serratus, to expand your rib cage and all those things. So yes, you were tired. Yes, I had to come back for the second workout at night. But so what? Yeah. So what?
Mike overemphasized the importance of muscle recovery and really made sure he's 100% recovered for each lifting session. Arnold, on the other hand, liked to be slightly overtrained.
I liked to be a little bit overtrained.
If your muscle recovered 80%, so let's say on the scale of 1 to 10, your muscle soreness feels like 2. You can go train again. I'd say you're good. However, if you completely recover 2 days prior your workout, then you're either not training hard enough or not frequent enough. So if Mike Mentzer says you should only train 2 hours a week in total, but you always feel like you ain't doing nothing, then that's stupid. Same goes for Arnold. Like, Tom Platz tried following blindly the exact training and diet and lifestyle, and he ended up looking fat and weak.
I was sort of halfway like Mentzer, halfway like Arnold. Furthermore, I should tell you the story. When I first went to California, I thought whatever Arnold does, I'm going to do. Okay? That's what I have to. That's why I went to study with the masters. So Arnold had a blonde girlfriend. I got a blonde girlfriend. Arnold drank coffee. I started drinking coffee. If he had hash browns for breakfast and potatoes, I had potatoes for breakfast, whatever. So I trained with him 6 days a week, twice a day. I go, here's what the best in the world does, the very best in the world. I got small and fat training twice a day, 6 days a week. I'm like, I'm depressed. Like, what do I do now? I did what Arnold did, and I got small and fat. I wandered off, I took 3 weeks off. And I'm new to Gold's Gym. Joe Gold's bugging me to pay membership, and I don't have any money, okay? Joe Gold's like, you got to pay for membership pretty soon, Tom. I'm like, I don't have any money yet, Joe. Can you wait till after the Mr. Universe? He goes, okay. I went back to the gym after 3 weeks off, and I'm bigger, and I'm stronger. I'm picking the big dumbbells, 180-pound dumbbells, back on the 90 kilogram dumbbells. I'm like, I realized I can't train 6 days a week, twice a day. I can train 3 and 4 days a week. That's the secret for me.
The only way to be truly successful at this and reach your potential is by taking the personalized approach. The amount of intensity and the amount of volume depends on how much you can take. It also depends on your level of experience. If you're a complete beginner, you might want to focus more on your training volume. There's a reason why intensity is added to your workouts through something called advanced training techniques. Am I telling you what to do? No. There's a lot of benefits to HIIT even for beginners. It teaches you the true meaning of training until failure. However, if you haven't mastered the proper technique, you might get hurt doing that. There's a lot of things to consider. The only right way is to experiment. Listen to your body. Measure the results that you're getting and adjust accordingly. Now, tell me, who do you think should have won the 1980s Mr. Olympia title? Arnold, Mike, maybe someone else? Let's discuss it in the comments. And if you want to find out more about either one of these two guys, here you have a video about Arnold's training secrets, and here you have Mike Mentzer. So see you somewhere there. Bye bye.